22nd of October 2016. Welcome to episode 16 of RapBabble, the weekly hip hop podcast. And every week I come on here, I either say or think to myself, there's not a lot of news this week. That's not the case this week. There is a lot of news, a lot of industry news happening. So let's get straight into the first story. And this is kind of a yawn-inspiring story, but Drake has Spotify's most streamed song ever. So this is from hiphopdx.com, and he got 880 million plays for One Dance. Views also broke a record. It was streamed 1 billion times on Apple Music. And I think that's just counting how many times any of the songs are streamed, not the entire album. That would be quite a lot to do 1 billion of the entire album, but I think it's just individual songs. And that's just on Apple Music, by the way. That doesn't even count Spotify, and it doesn't count YouTube, which is one of the bigger, it's in the category of Spotify and of Apple Music in terms of how many people watch it, because people don't think about YouTube as a streaming service, but it's probably bigger than, I wouldn't be surprised if it was bigger than Spotify in terms of number of streams for each of these songs. So yes, Drake's broken another record. This is kind of getting a little boring now, but it's amazing what he's doing, and he's entering a pantheon of big artists like Beyonce and Rihanna and Michael Jackson in terms of his ability to sell. And even though he's not in their category yet, I mean, he's four albums in, and his trajectory is just like, this is his biggest album. Album 4 is his biggest. A lot of people just explode when they come out and then kind of falter and die down. But no, he's on the way up. So he might be in that, he's going to be in that category at some point if he keeps going the way he is. He broke a third record. He had the most American Music Award nominations. So he's got 13, and Michael Jackson had the most with 11, and that was for 32 years. So Drake has bested Michael Jackson. It's a strange phrase to think about or to hear. So congratulations to Drake, and I'm glad someone's really selling in hip hop. That feels good. I think it's good for hip hop. You need someone who sells a lot, and you need someone who is the poet. So we have J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar who are doing it for the art, and then it's good to have someone who's making the music popular as well and selling a lot. It's nice because hip hop felt like it was faltering quite a bit. It was it hit its peak in the 2000s, but then it's not so big now. People are not going platinum. It's partly because of how music sells now, but anyway, it's good for it to one artist to be really succeeding. The next story, we're going to the other end of the spectrum, from success and sales to failure and crime. Bobby Shmurda, who took a plea deal for 7 years in prison, he's changed his mind. So initially he took a plea deal because the maximum charges he could have faced, like the maximum number of years, was about 77. And so he was persuaded to sign a plea deal where he would, in plea deals you avoid the trial, but you say, I'm not going to plead, I'm going to plead guilty, and then I'll get like a small, like he only got 7 years out of a potential 77. He might not have gotten all of that. But, you get the guaranteed 7 to avoid having the case. It will drag on for a long time. So it sounded like a good idea. Another part of the case was, which I explained in a previous episode, he decided he could have got less for his plea deal, but he was helping out his friend Rowdy Rebel. So if they both took, I think they both took 7 years, whereas he could have got less and Rowdy would have got more. But then they would have faced more time combined. So if he takes a couple of years, Rowdy gets a lot less. So he was helping out his friend, which I respect that a lot. And it's smart of him to take the plea deal. So the story now is he was quoted saying, "I was forced to take this plea deal. I do not want to take this plea. They lied to me." And he's fired his lawyer. And so I don't know what's going on. Like, this is a very clear-cut case, so I don't know how he could have been tricked. It seemed very clear when they explained the story in the media, what was happening. You take 7 years, you avoid going to trial, you help your friend out. So I can't even guess what happened. And I don't know who'd want to lie to him and make him do something. This is just a confusing story. It's probably best to wait. to see what happens. But I'm starting to lose a little bit of respect for him because he has a good deal. He's already served 2 years, so he's only got 5 years left, and he doesn't have to do all five. So he could be out in between 2 and 3 years. All he has to do is sit tight and don't get into any trouble. Don't get your girlfriend to sneak you a knife in, which he did before, and just be quiet. Keep everything calm, and you'll be out. So I wish him luck. Okay, the third story is a sad one, actually. Again, we're on the negative side of the spectrum, but cracks are emerging between a very popular friendship between two rappers. So Kanye West was at the Seattle part of his St. Pablo tour, and he got on the mic and he started ranting as he usually does. And this is one of the things I like about him. He hasn't changed. Like, if you remember that whole George Bush doesn't care about black people outburst, he's still doing it, and he's not. So he's getting everything off his chest. And this is good for us. We want to know what's happening. And so what he's complaining about this time is about the song Pop Style, and this is quite a long time after. So I'm not sure why it's taken this long. Something must have happened now. But he's not happy. So back when Views came out, the song Pop Style came out, which was Views is Drake's album, his last album, which came out this year and has sold so well. And they released a song called Pop Style, which was Drake, and then Kanye West had a verse, and then Jay-Z had 2 lines on it. But then when the album came out, there was a version with just Drake, no Kanye and no Jay. So it was a bit confusing, but then the media was speculating, there's something must have gone wrong. You don't just do a remix you don't take people off a song. You're desperate to get these people on, so why would you take them off? Something must have gone wrong. And speculation was right. I speculated this. I remember reading about this. And Kanye is saying that it's because of the streaming politics. So we have 2 camps. We have Kanye West and Jay-Z in the Tidal section. We have Meek Mill, who's signed to Roc Nation Management. So he's managed by Jay-Z's record label. And then on the other side, you have Apple Music and you have Drake. And the problem is, so at first Jay-Z was in favor of it. He even jumped on the song for two lines. But then he had second thoughts when the Meek Mill and Drake beef started, because they're on opposite sides. Meek Mill signed to Roc Nation Management. Drake's on Apple Music, which is opposed to Tidal. So Jay-Z said, you know what, for respect for Meek Mill, let's I'm going to jump off this. And he must have taken Kanye off it as well. But also there was the other layer of the fact that the Tidal versus Apple, and Drake is on Apple, so that's another reason, that's what I thought was the case. It was the only area of conflict that they had. And yeah, Kanye has come out and said that's the reason, is all this politics. And he's really angry that the song didn't come out on the album. He really cares about the art. He's angry about the song. He doesn't care about all of the politics. He really shouldn't have signed to Tidal in the first place. So he's kind of put himself in a difficult position. And it's kind of like signing to a record label. Like when you sign to a record label, you're kind of stuck. They control everything you do, and you don't have creative control a lot of the time. But now we're entering a very independent phase, and I thought that's the way it was going to be. But now these streaming services have become the new record labels. Like, record labels don't really do much for you, but the streaming services do. Once you put your song there, you can be found quite easily and be played for free. So yeah, Kanye is restrained by Tidal. And also there was another personal issue. He said that when Kim Kardashian, his wife, was robbed in Paris at gunpoint, which must have been quite traumatic for her, he got a call from Jay-Z asking how is everything? And then Kanye's quote was, "You want to know how I'm feeling? Come by the house, bring the kids by the house, like we're brothers, and sit down." Which I think is complaining a bit much. Like, you got a call from the guy. Yeah, he could come and visit you. I guess that would be nice, but I don't know. He called you, so that if he didn't call you, that's a different story. But he called you. Let it go. So it's kind of sad to see that then they're not beefing. Let's not exaggerate, but they probably don't talk much to each other anymore. their careers have gone in different directions, and they haven't really appeared on a song together for a while, and they both have families as well. So I think this relationship is on ice for the time being. But it's sad to see that it's slightly negative now. I don't like that story. I like this story much more. This is a very juicy story for as a media story. This is great. So this is involving RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, and he's doing big things. He's making films, and he's successful there, and he's running in those kinds of circles. So he's rubbing shoulders with people like Russell Crowe, and Azealia Banks got his attention, and he put her in a film of his, but she wanted a record deal as well. And so he made an effort to get a record deal. So he had a friend who could help her out. But the friend said, well, she's volatile. So would you be the buffer between us? And so, yes, this guy knows Azealia Banks's reputation. Azealia Banks, by the way, she's quite a foul person. She's a very foul-mouthed person. She really says some horrible things to people. A bit like teenage bullies, or just, I don't know, people with a really big problem. And she'll kind of come after people for little infractions. She's a little crazy at times. She goes over the top, and it seems like she's ready to just be aggressive with anyone. And it's always surprising to see this fairly small, fairly thin girl get really riled up and really angry and be really foul. But she's really coarse, and she's had numerous troubles. Like, she was thrown off a flight for arguing with an air stewardess, and there have been, like, she had a beef with Ti where she says a lot of horrible things, and just I knew before, like, once I saw her name, I thought you should stay well away from this girl. She is nothing but trouble. And RZA stupidly tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, but there's proof that she's more trouble than she's worth. And she's going to really hurt her career, because her career isn't going so well. She's talented. She's good at what she does. She cares about the art. But I think she's killing a lot of relationships, and she's getting a bad reputation. No one wants to work with her, which is why she needs a record deal now. Like, she had that huge hit, 212. And she had like a big hit single. She should have already had a record deal. Like, that might have been within a record deal, but what happened? Where did that go? So she's ruining relationships. So I don't think her career is going to go anywhere. But anyway, getting to the story, she was invited with RZA to Russell Crowe's hotel suite. There were a bunch of other people there. And then at some point she said she complained that the music playing was boring old white men music. And then some woman who was at the party was a little bit offended by that, and then kind of challenged her on that. And then Azealia Banks threatens to hit her with a bottle, threatens to cut a girl in the face with a glass, and then grabs the glass as well. So I should go to the backstory. The first thing we heard about this was Azealia Banks coming out in front of the media and saying, Russell Crowe choked me, spit on me, called me the N-word, and threw me out of his hotel suite. And all the other guys just stood there and did nothing. And when I heard this, I thought, this is Azealia Banks. She must have done something. They're not just going to do that. And so, yeah, the story has come out now. More of the story has come out. And by the way, so RZA brought out an account as well of what happened. So first it was Azealia Banks. There's a lot to the story. It's had like several phases. Azealia Banks came out and said that totally biased part. Then Russell Crowe came out and said, yeah, I threw her out, physically threw her out. I didn't spit on her. I didn't call her the N-word. And those two stories matched. So it kind of made sense to me that that's what happened. And then RZA comes out, and he's like the unbiased party. So he's going to tell us the truth. And this is what he said. He said that Azealia Banks was the one using the N-word. She threatened to cut a girl in the face with a glass, grabs the glass, physically attacks her for no logical reason. It doesn't really say what she did, though. RZA didn't say how she was attacked. So he should really be more clear on that. Um, Russell blocked the attack and expelled her from the room. And he also says Russell didn't call her the N-word. And he also spit in her direction, but it didn't land on her. So, and there was no choking. So we have the full story now. But Azealia Banks has filed charges against Russell Crowe for this. And so it's just actually I liked this story at first, but the more after going through it here and now, I don't like it as much anymore. It's just unnecessary. It's trouble. It's the pettiest of I don't like these kind of disagreements and arguments. This is petty stuff, and it's trouble, and yeah, getting a headache just talking about it. So I'll keep this one short, but it's interesting how stories come out, and you hear one side and don't always believe one person's side. Like once you hear the other side, it's totally different. Azealia Banks totally left out huge parts. She didn't lie about any of it. Actually, no, she did. They called her the M word and choked her. That was not true. So yeah, she did lie about it. But she's playing the victim. Oh, they choked me, they called me names, and they threw me out. Yes, but if you pick up a bottle or a glass and you threaten to cut someone in the face, you deserve to be expelled from the room. I would have done the same thing. Oh, and the thing that triggered RZA to come out and say this, RZA was quiet, which is what you should do. You shouldn't say anything. Just let the courts deal with it. Don't bring any attention to it. But then Azealia Banks came on camera and she kind of she got trapped by a journalist. This journalist, he knew what he was doing. He was smart about it, and he knew that she was lying or at least omitting facts. So she said to the journalist, uh, she said that she told her story. Oh, they choked me, they called me the N-word, they threw me out. And then the journalist said, so you're saying the RZA just did nothing? And so she was trapped. I mean, what could she do? If she tells the truth, she'd have to say that, oh, it was my fault. But she didn't want to say that. So she just said, yeah, he was a chump. He did nothing. And he might have done nothing, but she deserved to be thrown out. I would have done nothing as well. I would have thrown her out myself personally if I was RZA, but he's not bad for not doing anything. And then, yeah, so she calls him a chump. And he doesn't really deserve that. She was the villain in this whole piece. And so then RZA came out and said, right, I'm going to tell my piece. And so he'd already told the police everything. But then he came out and put a post on Facebook. You usually come across Twitter posts, but I think he needed to put a lot of characters in. So he announced this on Facebook, and yeah, it clearly told the story. And I don't think this case is going to go anywhere. He's not going to lose, definitely, even if it comes to that. But will it even be looked at? Because no crime was committed, actually. None of the witnesses say that she was choked. She was just manhandled out of the place. She was the aggressor. So yeah, I suspect that this case won't even be launched. It will just be dropped straight away. The charges will be, if I don't know how the legal system works, but you ask for charges to be filed and pressed, but I don't think they're actually going to press them. So Russell Crowe should be fine, and I think this will seal Azealia Banks's reputation and her career, because this is going to be high profile. I mean, this is involving Russell Crowe, number one. It's involving a very well-known actor who doesn't look for trouble and hasn't really got into any trouble himself. So that will make her look even more like she just looks like a total villain in this piece. So yeah, I think if they didn't know to stay away from her before, they will know now. RZA knows too. RZA's involved in this as well. RZA knows not to. Russell Crowe does as well. This will probably go through the industry, and I suspect she'll put out music by herself, release her own music, and then fizzle away. Even though the songs will be good enough to be chart dominating, and make an impact and keep the career going because of her toxic attitude and her reputation. She's just not going to get far. Sadly, well, no, rightly, you need to be nice in this industry. You need to treat people well, and if you treat people badly, even if your song is good, they're just going to turn you down. Why would I play your music if you're horrible to me or you're just not a nice person? Relationships and networking is really crucial and key. It's just as important as talent. Sadly, that's the sad part. It's more important than talent. She could go under a pseudonym and just put more music out, or put it out behind another person, with someone else as the front singer. Anyway, I spent way too long talking about Azealia Banks, but I do enjoy complaining about her because I don't like this kind of person. It just really riles me. People who are like that. So I hope she changes her ways. I don't think she will, but I hope she changes her ways. Anyway, it's been a packed week this week for stories, and looking forward to next week to see what happens. And I'll see you next time. Bye.